Welcome back to the Circl interview series. Today we are really honored to have Anthony Gruppo, who is the commercial CEO of Marsh & McLennan, which is an insurance business, global insurance business. So Anthony, welcome.
I'm in the insurance and risk business, and I'm responsible ultimately for, over 2,700 colleagues that are based in 55 locations, and we look after, 280,000 clients in the insurance and risk business. So, I'm an American, I'm an expat living here in London, and just enjoying it a great deal. So, my responsibility, I look at it, I'm at the bottom of the pyramid, there to serve others, and that's how I spend my day. Because I don't look at things as a title, as a corporate title. And I know that, look, I was the same way as a younger professional, thinking I had to attain a title, that it was driven by that ambition, but I really had it wrong. Then once I understood that as a servant leader, servant leadership culture, is that a chief executive officer, as you said, I define it as a coach, entrepreneur, and owner. Coach yourself and others, try to be entrepreneurial in how you think, and act like an owner. And then you're the CEO every day, no matter what your role is in life, that you are the CEO of your life and your personal brand and business. And that is more important than chasing a title, because that's an elusive quest. But if you wake up every morning looking to help others and not putting yourself in the agenda, chances are the world will call, and it does. Every day is different, but I believe that all professionals, especially that are client-facing, so I'm always concerned about three things: our clients, our colleagues, and our community. That's where I spend the majority of my thinking and service platforms. So what I try to do for my own routine and schedule, and that of my executive core, is to spend 70% of our time on the street, not in your office looking at financial statements and doing emails and pontificating from podiums, but to be out with really in a service structure. So it's out with our colleagues, finding out what's important to them, what struggles they might be having, be very accessible, and then with the clients, meeting with them, and then the community. I do a lot of speaking in the community or networking events and different venues. So and then it's the world of the surprise, right? So every day something happens that, you're tested, in your decision making and how you handle adversity. So our ultimate role is to protect individuals and companies from having losses, whether it's a fire, liabilities that could occur, if a product failure. And why it's critical in our world, like we're brokers, is that we get to see all types of businesses. What's fascinating and extremely exciting in this business is every day I'm dealing with something different. It could be cyber liability, computer firm, restaurants, chemical plants, construction companies, right? So we see every possible business that is out there in the world. And our job is to make sure that they're safe and taken care of when things go wrong. So at 16, 17, 18, like most young men, wondering what will become of me, right? What, do you go on to university? How will you earn a living? All those things. Are you accepted by your peers? Are you a follower or leader, right? Everything that we all face, because I come from very humble beginnings. I grew up in a very, very small town in rural part of Pennsylvania in America, the son of a welder, a steel welder. My mother was a seamstress, sewing machine operator. And I wasn't a good student. I went to university and actually left. And before completing it, did not obtain my degree till I was an adult, going back to school in the evenings. And I was from a working class world, so I was a working class individual. I worked on construction. I was a laborer and worked on as a steel worker and construction. I think here you call it, we call it blue collar. I think here it's more referred to as working class. So and then you just start scrapping your way through it. And I realized that I had been blessed, having come from a loving family, that I needed to see that and not think about what will I become, but more what mark will I leave. So in the insurance, I didn't start off in the insurance business right away. I was asked, as working on construction, I was offered a position with a bank, and from the ground startup, and the other one was a bill collector, someone that chases people for money who aren't paying their bills, and if they don't pay, takes their car, and things like that. So that's the job I took in my 20s, and it taught me a great deal about human behavior. And then they had an insurance business, and I went on to start selling insurance, door to door on straight commission, no salary. Along the way, something happened that was life-changing. I had lost my father to what you would know as a neurological disease, what we call ALS. And he asked me, his mind was very sharp, but he was dying neurologically. The body just shuts down, literally starves to death. And he was on a feeding. We'd taken care of him at home. We were blessed to take care of him at home. And at that time, I was in the insurance business. I don't know if I was in my 30s, I guess. And he asked me one day to define greatness. It was a beautiful Saturday afternoon in November. And I recall it. I can, right now, as I'm speaking to you, I can even see everything and smell it. And I gave this answer that was what most amateurs say: goal setting, achieving things, chasing ambition, all those. And he just smiled and he said to me, "You've learned nothing." He said, "We're great friends, and I raised you for this moment." And he asked me to turn off the machine that was keeping him alive. And I tried to sell my way out of it and said, "Well, another day, let's try another drug, another opportunity." And he said, "Anthony, greatness is when people duplicate what you started. If no one duplicates what you started, then how can you have ever been great? Duplicate what I started." And then I turned off the machine, and he passed a few days later. Now, those that are listening to that moment will face those similar things in their lives. Maybe not as drastic or dramatic, but every day we live and die based on our decisions. So I try to live the rest of my life paying respect to that welder. And then, And then I started to do insurance work for not-for-profits, schools that had tough kids, residential care facilities, living orphans. It went on to insure thousands of organizations. In fact, my wife and I, Linda, went on to become foster parents to take in children that were foster children. So I'd say to everyone listening, what are those defining moments in your life? And what will you do with them? How will you take it to duplicate what others started? And that's probably what you'll be remembered for. Do what people think. Do what no one wants to do. Go where no one wants to go. And the world will call. I remember our daughter Tara saying, I heard her say one evening, well, she was struggling doing her homework or something, as normal kids would do. And she said, well, Dad's successful and he didn't go to college. I thought, that's a bad message. So I remember Linda looking at me and I was like, okay, that's not good. So I enrolled in to finish school. And I remember sitting there doing my homework at night when she was doing hers. And I'm glad it ended up that way in my situation, because it made me appreciate, that time that I had, if I just stuck with it sooner. But there were other factors around, earning a living, money and things like that. So I guess I would say that, as I earlier, that every day you seek to learn something, right? That young people and even people of all ages, they have this fear. I see it. They have this fear to conform and be loved and be look like everyone else. And they build their social media brands. They all look the same to me, you know. So I say to them, like, find your spot, right? What makes you unique? Don't be a follower. Don't hide behind it. Go out and push it. And that's where the impossible is found. Because everyone has this greatness inside of them, this ability to achieve. It's the ordinary people that do the most extraordinary things, and they're the ones that end up leading, changing lives. And everyone listening has that ability. But it wasn't handed out to certain people. It was handed out to all of us. You got to go get it, though. You got to go out there fearlessly, because fear is a total of lost moments. That's what fear really is. It's not being alone. It's not failure. It's not monetary. It's sure not a title, and it's not being ahead of a company. It is not letting moments get away and breaking your momentum. It is taking all of your passion, applying it to all the potential you have, and then increasing your performance as a human being. Passion, potential, performance. Every day, chase it. Let me do the best I can with that one. The first thing is, when people say they don't know what they're passionate about, they're just hiding from the hard part of it. And when people say, I don't know what I'm passionate about, it's because they haven't thought about it. They haven't really put the hard work in yet. Because you know the answer. If you're passionate about, and let's see an example of that. Passion doesn't come from thinking about what's best for you. Passion is found on what's best for others. Don't put yourself in the agenda. Think about, with your skills and talents and what you love, how can you truly help other people? And then your passion comes. If you think about it just for yourself, what do I want? Now your ego's driving the equation. Your ambitions is the fuel to that equation, and you're going to be sadly disappointed. But if you think about, so first, what can we do for others based on the skill set you have? That's servant leadership. That happens at every age, no matter what your job is. The next thing is, try to surround yourself with people who don't tell you what you want to hear. I don't care if you're 17 or I don't care what, because look, 17, 18, 67, doesn't matter. You tend to start hanging around people like you. You have to put yourself in a situation where you're a minority in how you think, because that diversity creates diversity of thought. So we have to surround ourselves with people who will challenge us, share your ideas, share your concerns, share your passions, and have them work, like a personal board of directors. And I'll give you an example. A young woman, only 18 years old, contacted me the other day on social media. I'm on Instagram, right? LinkedIn, Twitter, all the stuff. And she said to me that she had read one of my recent books, Pushers of the Possible. And she asked me if she could share some of her ideas. Now, I got all time in the world for you. I got all time in the world for someone like that. Think about this. Teenager, writing to a CEO and an author who on paper might look like I'm totally untouchable or you can't get to me, whatever it might be. That is her creating a personal board of directors. And I've had one, Charlie, the majority of my life, 6, 7 people at a time, 2-year terms, 2 years, come off. And I've invited people that I never thought would return my call when I was 20, 21, 31, 41, 51. I never thought that they would call me back, but they did, because they saw themselves in the request I gave them. Don't be afraid. Fear of total loss moments. Define your passion with service of others. Surround yourself with people that will ask you tough questions, that will tell you the truth. And then pick a goal. I don't care if it's write a book. I don't care if it's write a poem. I don't care if it's write a blog. I don't care what it is, but take a stand on something. Take a stand. And next thing you do, you look behind you and you're no longer a follower, you're a leader. And those people will push you to try new things. Now, it's as simple or as difficult as that. Constantly research and develop new things. Think about what you want to be studying, 4 different things. Whatever your curriculum is, whatever you're reading, try to study 4 different things simultaneously, from maybe a cyber science to something very light and easy. See yourself the rest of your life as 4 humans: a facilitator, a strategist, a consultant, and a closer. What facilitation are you doing in your life to get better? What's your strategy? How do you think that you're consulting for yourself and others, and then be a closer? Close it. Close the deal. Make a decision. Be bold. Take chances, because I got to tell you, the world needs you right now. It always did, but now more than ever, it needs people to be bold. And don't be afraid.